fired up for it. So let's go. Let's go with this one that's been waiting since the beginning of the show. This is Jeff from Richmond, Virginia, who says, "What is the best way to come out, and should I even do it?" And you're on with Tracie and Don.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. Thanks for waiting.
So, thank you. So here is just a quick thing about me. I came from a Catholic family. I consider myself agnostic, and with my family, the older they get, the more holier than thou they become, of course. And as time goes on, especially my father, he's going to mass constantly, and telling me things I should be doing, and and all this kind of nonsense. And so, dealing with that, can you give me some ideas, maybe from yourself or from other callers that you may have educated on this? What is the best way to, when discussions of religion come up, that that you can explain to somebody that, hey, look, I'm sorry, but I don't believe in this. Okay. This is what I believe. How would you approach that?
Let me just ask for a little bit of context here. So first of all, about how old are you? What's the age range you in there? Are you like?
I'm in my 40s.
Okay, so you don't live at home, probably.
No.
Okay,
no.
So you live on your own. You're in your 40s. Dad's like hitting you up about religious discussion all the time. Is that about what's going on?
Yeah.
Okay, so Dad's inviting conversation here. Now, but at the same time...
Absolutely, and he's probably not going to like the answer.
But at the same time, let's be fair to Dad here. He doesn't know you're an atheist, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Dad thinks maybe you're on board with this stuff, and he doesn't think that he's being intrusive or like coming at you and attacking your views or challenging you, because he doesn't know what your views are. So Dad's coming at this thinking that you believe the thing you were raised in, and that y'all are on the same page probably, right?
Well, not necessarily.
Okay, good. This is what I need.
Why.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, anytime he gets on a religious discussion, as about anything, I either kind of just bluff it off, like, hey, look, I don't want to hear it, or B, I will go into discussions with him about religion. In other words, giving him examples as to why he's wrong about something.
Okay.
As an example of this, the other day he was talking to me on the phone. I have a 3-year-old son, and he said, "Have you got Ryan baptized yet?" And I said, "No, we have not." And he goes, "Well, you really need to be going and doing that, because something could happen at any point, and it wouldn't be good for him." And I simply told him, I said, "Listen, he's a 3-year-old little boy that runs around and has fun all day, and the fact of the matter is, God forbid if something did happen to him, Dad, I don't think he's going to be going to the pits of hell, don't you?" And then he'll just kind of laugh it off and then change the subject. Okay. So again, he knows when he talks to me that, I don't cower down to it, but I kind of throw my feelings on that. I believe what he says is nonsense, but I've never directly come out to him and said, "Hey, look, I just want to break the news to you here, but I think Catholicism is nonsense." Okay. And everything that I've been taught is nonsense.
Okay, so right now, Dad sees you as sort of the wayward Catholic, right? Like he thinks like you're not going to church like you should. Maybe you're not baptizing the kid, but he thinks that you should baptize the kid, and he's sort of
maybe he knows, and it's just not being consciously talked about.
Yeah, he's getting some idea that you disagree with him on some levels. Right? How often is he bringing this up?
I never go to church.
Right, but to be fair, though, a lot of Catholics don't go to church, right? So there's a lot of Catholics that are just like, my family's Catholic and I go to Mass on special days or whatever. So it's not unusual. There are cultural Catholics, right, who are just like, that's my family and it's just what we do, like almost like cultural Jews.
I even made I'll tell you what, I even made a comment to him not too long ago because, he was, kind of what you were saying at the beginning of the show when you were reading the news reports about the Catholics right now. I was sitting there going, you all are so dead on the money, because he was having the same conversation with me. And I just simply told him, I said, "Hey, Pop, look, you know what?" I said, "You want to know how to fix this problem? What they should be teaching these priests, cardinals, and bishops that took an oath of chastity to keep their hands off the altar boys." And he changed the subject real quick. So again, he hears and he sees for me that I think it's complete nonsense, and I think you're right to a point too, to where you said he possibly does know without him directly coming out and asking me. And so, do you think at some point that when he starts in with these discussions about religion, that I should just sit down with him and have a heart to heart and say, look, this is me. Let me tell you about me, how I feel.
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessary to have a big, long discussion. It sounds to me like when you challenge Dad, he kind of shuts up, right?
He does.
That's what you're describing. So you come at him and he just sort of shuts down. I wonder if it wouldn't just be sufficient, instead of just saying, I don't believe my kid's going to go to hell, which is kind of rejecting part of what he believes and letting him know that you don't agree with it and you don't believe it. Maybe it would be sufficient to just say, Dad, I just don't believe all this stuff. And maybe Dad would just shut down, and then you'd have to see what happens after that. Yeah. Like, does he keep bringing it up? And then if he does, you can just keep saying, Dad, I just don't believe all this stuff. And that could be the conversation, right? Dad brings up religion, you tell him you don't believe it, Dad shuts down, and then you guys go have lunch.
I think the reason that I haven't done it, that's why I was calling you guys. It's kind of like where you were saying that some people who are atheists, still have that fear of hell. I have that fear, and I probably shouldn't, but I have that fear that my dad would think less of me, or that he would be like, I can't, you know what I'm saying? How you obviously don't want to lose.
I mean, you can't really control that.
One of the things I wanted to say is, I think your father is afraid, and I think that may be motivating him, and so that might be a way. If you understand that might be a way for you to be a bit more compassionate about your responses to him.
Okay.
The other thing that really needs to be said is, don't expect that you're going to change somebody's mind.
Right.
I think that if you stick to facts about yourself that are true, I don't believe that those sorts of things, or this doesn't make sense to me, or I don't want to have these sorts of conversations, or these sorts of things. I think if you stick to that and try to keep emotion out of it, those would be good guideposts for you in having a conversation like that. Religion tends to be an emotional topic, and religious people, the religion is sort of part of their identity. And so it can feel to them like an attack, if depending on how you're coming at this.
Right.
So even if that's not what you're intending, that may be the effect that happens.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I would say own your own statements and use a lot of I statements, right? Like instead, don't say I think what you believe is bunk. I think just say I just don't believe what you believe there, Dad. Like, I don't believe
and I do,
it.
And I respectfully, again, would never say anything, to my father or any part of my family that, that obviously would be negative, towards Catholicism. But at the same time, too, it's just really getting old, hearing constantly the nonsense about how, you should go to mass, or you should pray, or you should, find a good church to go to, and you should do this and you should do that.
Right.
And it's driving me nuts, but there again, at the same time, I'm also holding my beliefs in, and I'm like, it's like, I guess it would be like for a homosexual saying I'm coming out of the closet here. It's just so it makes me feel better about me.
Well, there's a lot of analogies.
Who I am. Right.
And you need to have some boundaries in this relationship, right? Because he may be stepping over some lines, and we've heard conversations where people have really gone way over these lines. But it may be that you just need to say, "Hey, I don't want to talk about religion with you." Maybe that's the boundary.
Yeah, you could go that route.
Yeah.
And agree to disagree.
Okay.
And that can go a long way, but you sort of need to figure that out for yourself as far as what those boundaries are. Maybe think about what in particular is bothering you about these conversations, and have a conversation about that issue.
I think what's bothering him is he's constantly being hammered with religious ideology.
You got it.
Okay.
You got
well,
it.
maybe.
And it's even bad enough too. Like for instance, and my mother and father are divorced, but my stepmother, I mean, she's a wonderful person. She has the same feelings I do because he's even telling her, well, you're going to go to hell because you're not a Catholic, and all this. And I'm going, well, I told my stepmom the other day. I said, well, you know what? If that's the case, hell's going to be an awfully crowded place. So I guess I'll see you down there.
Yeah, I'll be there to greet you. Wait,
heaven for the climate, hell for the company. Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly. We'll all be down there having a beer together. So, yeah.
But yeah, I don't think I would turn it into like a big long thing. I think I would just try a few little things, like Don is saying. Maybe just say, I really would rather not talk about religion with you, or just like I don't really share your beliefs, and I don't want to upset you or offend you, but it's probably not a good idea if we talk about this because I don't agree with your views on this.
And it can be really hard with kids involved, too.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's always a little bit of a tug of war there.
Exactly. And that's what makes it tough, too. I mean, especially with that. And it's one of those things that it makes you feel uncomfortable. It's kind of like, when you're having some religious fanatic that's constantly telling you, how unworthy you are and how you need to be saved. And it's so damn uncomfortable hearing that kind of crap. You just want to strangle them. But at the same time, I want to be respectful in the way in which I say it, but it's burning inside me to the point of now I'm starting to get a little
and that's not going to
it.
be good, because then when things come out, they come out bad, right? So it's always good to talk about. You draw those boundary lines early at the first sign of something wrong, so that it doesn't turn into this is the 100th time you violated this, and the other person's like, violated what? What? Was there a boundary? Right? Like, they don't know. Yeah. So with you, like I say, just something like, hey, it's probably not a good idea if we talk about this because I really don't share your views on it, and unless you want to get into it, it's probably good we talk about something else.
Well, let me just ask one quick thing, because I know you guys have got to go. But
we got a couple people waiting.
How did you guys personally deal with coming out with your relatives and things like that? What was their response?
I don't think
when you said,
we had to really. I mean, I don't think Don.
They just
did you come out?
Well, my family was not particularly religious, so there wasn't a big issue there as far as the religion thing. But you might call again another day and ask the different hosts.
I moved away. I just moved away and didn't have to deal with it. My mother was kind of religious, and then she kind of got less religious as she got older, and so it was just not even a big issue.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good. Well, listen, guys, thank you so much for taking my call. I greatly appreciate it. You definitely give me a lot to think about.
No problem.
Thanks.